Tonight, former independent Senator Vistas Jamari takes Prime Minister Alan Chasney to task for what he says is his high level of tolerance for improper behavior. The Prime Minister welcomes 49 new recruits and acknowledges the increase in crime on the island.
My government is absolutely committed to improving and empowering the police force.
And vendors previously operating in the Castries market officially make the move to the old fire station site on Jeremy Street. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Monday, the 27th of May, 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News. We're on Flow Channel 117, also being simulcast on Kiss FM 105.5 and 105.9. You can also watch on our website, www.caribbeanhottv.com, or on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Former independent Senator Vistas Jamari has taken Prime Minister Alan Chasney to task for what he says is his high level of tolerance for improper behavior within his administration. He spoke against the backdrop of the continued controversy surrounding the Pajoa letter. The businessman says the government is showing a lack of respect for the rule of law.
The antics of Guy Joseph are rubbing one former independent senator the wrong way. Vistas Jamari appeared as a guest on Hot 7 TV's The Hot Seat. He was incensed by the nonchalant responses that Guy Joseph has given to the press since news broke of a comfort letter to Pajoa Limited, allegedly signed by the Economic Development Minister. The letter offers a commitment by the government of St. Lucia to repaying a loan of US $62 million at a 3.5% rate over a 15-year period for the LED street lighting project. Prime Minister Alan Chasney, for his part, told the press that he never gave authorization for what the letter purportedly contains.
I have listened for some time now, and I could safely conclude, and I think any reasonable person can conclude, that the minister did write the letter. Because in the first instance, he found himself, while not saying that he wrote the letter, he was very clear in trying to defend the contents of the letter. Now, nobody defends a letter if you didn't write it, but nonetheless, he went and defended the content. And then he made this shocking revelation during the earlier part of this week, that, okay, two wrongs don't make a right. That's an implication that you have committed a wrong. And I think it's an act of deception. And to try and defend that and to turn on people who have said this is improper, it's just unacceptable beyond the pale. And I don't understand how in 2019 you could let that pass as good governance. It's not. And in any serious country, Guy Joseph should be out of office.
The former independent senator says Prime Minister Alan Chasney has to take a stand against such behavior. As far as Jamari is concerned, Prime Minister Chasney up to this point has demonstrated too much of a high tolerance for improper behavior.
You have to understand what's going on here. The Minister of Economic Affairs is putting himself out as someone who has the capacity to enter an arrangement with an individual regarding financing and granting of contracts, when that really is the purview of the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance.
He says if the government does not move with alacrity to get a handle on this matter, it will set a powerful negative example for the citizens of the country, youth in particular.
What I think Prime Minister needs to pay attention to, if you ask me, is that he needs this, at the governmental level, people need to tighten up on the level of compliance with regulation and laws, because you cannot separate what happens at the top from what happens at the grassroots levels. People take their cue from their leaders and what they see people whom they deem to hold up as examples. You draw lessons from that.
At least one government minister in the person of Stephenson King has stated on the record that the Economic Development Minister Guy Joseph should be disciplined if the comfort letter to Pajoa Limited is indeed authentic.
The Royal St. Lucia Police Force has welcomed 49 new officers to its ranks. At the graduation ceremony, Prime Minister Alan Chasney acknowledged the increase in crime on island, but reiterated his government's commitment to providing the necessary resources for members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force to fight crime and make St. Lucia a safer place. The Attorney General also implored the officers to not become part of the problem of lawlessness, but to be champions for positive change.
The graduation of Course 36 of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force Academy was seized as an opportunity to encourage the new members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force to be change makers. The 49 new police officers are part of the government's strategic plan to enhance citizen security by boosting numbers within the RSLPF. Prime Minister Alan Chasney was brought to tears by the sacrifices that he says it took for the recruits to complete their training successfully. He also reaffirmed the government's commitment to the police force and to improving the resources at its disposal.
We do have an increase in crime in our country. We've seen in the last couple of months an increase in robberies and burglaries. And we believe that we have to address this by increasing the presence of police men and women in the neighborhoods to reassure the citizens of this country that we take this very seriously. And there are going to be times that you're going to be frustrated because the justice system doesn't always work the way you think it does.
Attorney General Stephen Julian spoke to effective community policing as an initiative that would greatly assist with crime fighting, but sadly, he says his office knows firsthand the challenges of community policing due to corruption within the force.
Police training or certification alone will not engender the culture that we seek to cultivate within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. This can only be achieved when you seek to embrace, reinforce, and demonstrate the values taught at training school. You are encouraged also to be continuously innovative as you carry out your duties and be ever vigilant for areas where your service can result in positive change. I therefore believe that the intervention of the government, to increase the capacity within the police force is both significant and timely.
Julian spoke of his hope that the new police officers will be catalysts for change.
Few criminal cases advance very far without some level of public cooperation, and detection of crimes would be hampered without police public complaint. However, there are some notable obstacles to community policing. Specifically, police officers who commit abuses, rendering it impossible to win the trust of the community. That the action to further exacerbate the challenges at my chambers as it relates to litigating matters on behalf of the police where abuses of the rule of law arise. I implore you, do not become part of the problem.
The new recruits underwent 28 weeks of training. They were described as an enthusiastic and committed group of young men and women.
The St. Lucia Fire Service recorded another active weekend. Providing an update is Assistant Divisional Officer David Antoine, who elaborated on the response of the St. Lucia Fire Service to a number of fires, motor vehicular accidents, and the shooting of one Sean Joseph of Trois Pitons.
On the weekend of mid-23rd to the 27th, the St. Lucia Fire Service responded to 94 ambulance calls, of which 84 were medical emergencies. These medical emergencies included 7 motor vehicle accidents, 2 physical assaults, 1 incident where a young female was allegedly pushed off a vehicle, and 1 firearm-related incident. On mid-25th at approximately 10:20 p.m., fire officers from the Castries Fire Station responded to a fire-related incident at Bacatel Castries. On arrival at the scene, emergency personnel assessed and treated a young male for what seemed to have been a gunshot wound to the throat. He was subsequently transported to the Victoria Hospital for further medical care.
The victim succumbed to his wounds. Antoine also provided additional insight into an alleged case of a female being pushed out of a moving vehicle.
On Saturday, May 25th at approximately 10:20 p.m., fire officers from the Castries Fire Station responded to an incident at Vite, where a young female was allegedly pushed off a moving vehicle. On arrival at the scene, emergency personnel assessed and treated the victim for injuries to the neck and to the legs. She was subsequently transported to the Victoria Hospital for further medical care.
The unit also responded to 19 fire calls, 16 of which were bushfires and 3 rubbish fires. The fire service continues to urge citizens against the practice of bush and rubbish burning amidst an increase in humid temperatures currently sweeping through the Caribbean region. Vendors previously operating in the Castries market have officially made the move to the old fire station site on Jeremy Street. After receiving their cash payments, they are doing their best to settle in at their new temporary home.
Effective Monday, the provisions market vendors assumed temporary accommodation at the former fire service headquarters site on Jeremy Street. The location is equipped with all amenities and round-the-clock security. The Castries Market Redevelopment Project, which is a part of the Castries Vision 2030, will positively transform the image and business of vending in the city. Each of the daily provisions vendors received a relocation stipend of $500 to assist with their temporary move. Vendors are also assured 24-hour security, proper lighting, and other amenities at the temporary site. Our cameras visited them on site on Monday. They say they are taking it all in stride and that they are generally happy with the temporary move.
It has not been bad at all. Knowing it is our first time, we do not expect a lot of sales, but at the moment I'm much satisfied. People have been coming in, walking around, seeing how things have been done, and I believe as they get acquainted to the site, they will be coming.
Well, moi-même bien pleasé avec market là au mettez ici. Moi-même soleil là chaud but vent là mais a ka venter ka un petit cool out. Avec market là ici a pas même some market ici il y a some market l'autre pays.
I am so happy today. Since yesterday morning I am working because I know I was coming in a new market named Jerusalem. I love it.
It's okay. Sometimes it's always good to have a change, and that change will be able to bring it higher, or that change will make it become better.
The Castries Market Redevelopment Project will encompass a state-of-the-art food court, high-end air-conditioned restaurants, a craft market, box park, viewing tower, entertainment area, meat and fish depots, duty-free shopping boutiques, and much more.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News. When we come back, all the action from Epic Saturday, the launch of Carnival 2019 at VG, the launch of the Miku Carnival, and the sashing of the Cicero Carnival Queen contestants. That and more when we return.